Black Division was hard on cars.
Yeah. That's true.
Oh, not in the rubber class.
No?
All three of us.
I think it was Black Division event was good as it normally is.
Yeah, the event was good. We were down on cars this year, a lot lower car count, and I think that's just because of the commitment to go. And I really tried to push. We really tried to push the prize money this year, and we really tried to push. You know, that it was a big event, and we didn't seem to get the newcomers out to go. We seemed to have all of the regulars who normally would go, and there was none of the new people came. So very disappointing that way. Just the car count so low.
Especially Chevettes, I was shocked.
Yeah, we only had the eight Chevettes, yeah, which was our stalwart all season. We were up at 16 every event, that only half of them showed up. So, but
Well, there was a couple of them got beat up before we went up there, so that was
the attrition the last weekend was pretty high.
yeah.
yeah.
I tried to convince Al, but there was just a bunch of other stuff he's trying to work on, getting ready for summer racing, and I like understood that. So
I think Black Division is a worthwhile event. Anybody working for get away for the winter getaway on the weekend, it's a worthwhile event to attend. I mean, I really enjoyed seeing the planes and the snowmobiles and the bike races. I mean, there's lots of stuff there. If you're in out motorsports in the outdoors in the wintertime, it's well worth attending.
Yeah.
In my view.
Very well organized by everyone there.
Yes. Meal was awesome at the banquet.
Yeah, both days.
Always. Cheap beer.
I still have tickets in my wallet.
Sean, why did you tell me? God.
I know. Well, I was tired and I needed to leave.
Yeah, the weather wasn't so great coming back for us. So.
Ew. Might as well.
Not that first part out of Black Division.
To boil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was a great event again. Fantastic.
Had the travel money. I got the travel money and the prize money, and I was shocked.
Yeah. Well, it basically cost you $20 to race for the weekend.
Yeah.
It was worth watching the guys in the rental cars race. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was priceless.
They were having such a good time.
They were.
And
But the better show was the grandstand.
Cheering section?
Yes. Did you not?
No.
Oh my God.
you missed it.
It was everybody who was in some way affiliated with these 6 people who were driving the Chevettes, and they're like, "Oh no, look what he did! Wait, we need more laps. Add more laps."
The ride-alongs were very well attended this year, better than last year. So I think that's a real winner there for generating money for charity. So I think even next year it'll become bigger and better, even for the ride-alongs. So everybody did a marvelous job supporting those.
That one old guy that went for the ride,
Got the freebie?
he got out and he says, last time I saw you guys, Bobby Unser was here. At Leduc. God, that's how many years?
20.
20. Yeah.
Midnight.
More than 20,
More than 20 years.
because the youngsters were here before we left our acreage in '98.
But who's counting?
They're all the same when you get this old.
Yeah.
And it was great to see the Fiat out again, even though it broke.
Yeah,
Matt had a good time.
yeah, I think he had a good time, yeah, until it broke.
What happened?
Stripped the chain off, but there's something wrong with the sprocket box in the back, I think. I managed to find a piece of thresher chain to put on that fit, but then he phoned me up the next morning and said, "Is the chain supposed to rub on the side of that?" No. when you watch it turn, the sprocket isn't straight anymore. Because it shouldn't have broken that piece of chain.
Yeah. On a good note, everybody else survived except my car and the Matt's car.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Only two
so-
that broke really? Oh.
Yeah, we're the only ones who broke. Mine broke 20 minutes into practice. So.
It was good to see Peter.
Peter Seifert
Peter
had
had a
to do
bad,
a lot of work on his
bad
car.
incident.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Too bad.
Two bad incidents.
And he trashed in his car over lunch and went and got parts and came back and won the championship. So that was good to see.
I thought Kenny Bird also did outstanding.
Yes. First corner, first practice,
and he
on the
flipped it
roof.
hard and then won every race after that.
I was trying the opposite side first.
That's how you mix the fuel additive in the tank.
Rotate.
I think Jones had his car out too, completely rebuilt, and it went back the same shape. So.
Mostly.
So I don't know what I'm thinking what we could do different to try and get people up there. I don't think we could have done anything different. I promoted the hell out of it and sent enough emails out, but and it's so cheap. I just don't know why people don't want to go.
Years ago, we'd even get the guys from Saskatoon.
Yes.
To come and,
Well, they're not racing anymore. So.
not really.
Yeah.
The cost of everything has gone up so much. But with all they put a lot of money back to the racers, right?
Yeah. We got $80 for travel plus $25 credit card for Petrocan.
Oh,
No, that's way better than you get for summer racing.
Yeah.
That was.
So it basically just costs you your
We'll have
room.
to put it more into the advertising beforehand, I think. So
I don't know what.
if I didn't take enough initiative, I think, on that for not for the actual few days leading up to it, but before.
I sent 2 emails out to everybody.
No, but for me, I should have put it out anyway on the Facebook. On the ad.
I don't think it would have helped because it was I directly addressed our ice racers and they just didn't show up.
we need the car count better for January.
Yeah. So that by
We've got to work this summer on getting our car count up.
Although we were higher than last year, we had a little bit of gain this year, but
In a car count?
yeah, not enough.
All that was Chevette, wasn't it? Pretty much.
No, we had a little bit in limited stud, two extra cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd just like to say a big thank you to all the volunteers who did make the trek to Lac La Biche and worked hard on the corners.
God bless them.
And Sunday was the nicest day we've had all year.
Yeah.
It was a nice day.
Okay, item number 2, a review of the actual whole ice race season. Go ahead, Sean.
Great, had a great season. I was sick, from a personal standpoint, I was sick for the first day, so that kind of sucked. But I think having Colin do all the work and build the racetrack out there is fantastic. And the report Colin was built with Roy to have access to his property and have access to the lake is quite something special. And I really think that's worth commending Roy on for having us out there and putting up with us. I mean,
The convenience of
the
that
convenience
lake.
of it, yeah. There's a bunch of hooligans out running around on your pond in your backyard. It's got to be some kind of an aggravation to him, but he puts up to us and keeps having us back. So I think that's fantastic. And that location, the convenience of it is great.
Superb.
Ice was good this year. The ice was thick and hard. I thought it was great. I mean, we had no problems with having to rearrange the track for flooding and lack of ice.
The ice was hard, brittle.
Brittle.
Always want more cars. Always car count. But the Chevette's really stepped up, and Landon is doing a good job there with the Chevette class, bringing out more cars. And you know, they're Chevettes, but they're for the most part they're pretty well kept. And I saw some absolutely stunning photographs of all the Chevettes and all. You know, that reminds me of the houses in Newfoundland.
I finally found out what the story behind that is. Was Landon basically said if you fix your car up with the body work, Enduro will paint it for free.
Oh, okay.
So that was the deal, and that's why all the cars were painted
cool.
nice with all the bright colors, as long as you fixed your Chevette up. And
Well, that looks great.
and it's a wonderful initiative, and we really need to thank Landon again for that. I didn't realize that until I talked to somebody at Lac La Biche. So.
Well, if I fix up my neon, want to repaint that for me too? Needs a little fix. Needs a little fixing.
I'm sure there could be a deal in the works.
I'm amazed that people still find Chevettes.
Yeah. Well, there's still lots out there.
They're
There's
out
one
there.
new one this
They
year.
found one in Stony Plain, it's been sitting for at least 10 years. He went and knocked on the door, and $400 later, he had it, and it was Sandy, who was the crew chief for Todd Nickel.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that right? Oh, yeah.
Remember Sandy?
Yep.
And the
But
car was lovely.
Caged?
Huh?
Was
No.
it caged? No.
It was a full car, race
Okay.
car. It was all
Really?
brown.
What?
Caged, yeah.
Oh.
The number 6.
Oh wow.
Beautiful. It was as nice a
Is
car
that the
as
kid Mike, the
anything.
guy that put on the show in Lac La Biche there? Is that the green one?
No, he didn't come to the.
No, that's
Okay.
Pat Checkle.
Okay.
Has the,
And the guy, he's married, and he's a Goudreau, but not a Landon family member.
oh, so Dan Goudreau,
Yes.
you're talking about,
Oh,
okay.
his wife,
And then his
right?
wife
And,
is
and his
Kendall.
wife that we're running. But you know, he picked that up for $400, put a starter in it,
Yeah.
and put some tires on, and away he went. And it looked as nice as any of them out there.
Yeah,
Wow.
Kendall kind of bent hers when she put it over, but that's.
Yeah.
Edmonton Airports has got a service vehicle that's an old Chevette with a nice maple leaf on it and a cast covetous eyes on it. So it shows up in that sort of the airplane pre-grid area when you're looking outside and waiting to head out. And
Interesting.
I think Jed has cast covetous eyes on this too, on the thing too. It's probably the nicest one left in the world.
I think Mark Stevens still has one that was never caged, that looks very nice too.
He had a
Oh, a show car.
Yeah.
He had a show car.
A show Chevette.
Yeah. The same, painted up the same as his race car.
Yeah, it was the 24
Oh,
with all the colors of
Yeah,
the
with Jeff
pink.
Gordon guy.
Branco has to have at least 6 or 8.
Yeah.
And Les Kuchin has a dozen, I've been told.
what, was that supposed to be BC or something?
No, Slave Lake.
He
but he moved to Victoria.
He
Oh, did he?
moved, I think, yeah.
Yeah, he moved to Victoria. He moved
But he's
to-
in Victoria now? And who's that other guy that moved out to the island?
Todd. I
Todd.
can't remember his last name.
Yeah,
Military.
yeah, yeah.
Les Kuchin.
He had.
So you're gonna start hitting all these up for cars?
Joe
Is that what
Branco.
you're doing? You said the
You
list,
bet.
the list for,
We need to
Whatever we
find
can
these
do, yeah.
cars.
Johnny Wiersma's building a number 2 car for his,
his son.
offspring.
Mhm.
He's got the engine on the stand and all shined up. 60 large horsepower.
Okay, we can do this for
Well,
dishes.
The Chevettes have got a winning combination in that tire
We need to put
selection
more
they've
rubber.
got. That one runs great. Now there was some banter about putting more studs in those tires, and I'm dead against it. So if you do have some discussions with other people, I think they're plenty fast enough. I think they're good control. I would be against putting more studs in those tires. I think they got a perfect balance right now, and so there may be some talk about that coming towards next season. About I don't know where the groundswell came from, but I think they're plenty fast enough.
Well, it's like any drug, once you get a little bit, you want
And
some
you
more,
have too
right?
much traction.
Yeah.
They do bite though. When they come on the track and make their U-turn
Yeah, oh yeah.
to grid up, you can see
You
the
can see
tread and every little,
Yeah.
yeah, it's biting pretty, and yet he's only got about 1/8 of an inch of
Protrusion.
above the tread.
Yeah.
That being said, with the more stuff or more bolts, I had heard that someone had tried running a Chevette Unlimited stud at some point in time.
It's been tried before.
It's been tried before, and it didn't work out from what I remember.
Didn't Landon do that at the end of last year, or was that this design that
This
he tried? Okay.
That's when you need to find out the severely short on horsepower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's only the 60 horsepower cars.
Yeah.
100
Yeah.
horsepower cars.
100.
Yeah. Do they have enough inventory on those iPikes to keep going, or can they?
Yeah, no,
with the new
that's
studded formula, can they
that's a
swap that
current-
out and it won't
it's a
matter?
current one that you can buy at Canadian Tire real easy. And at the beginning of the year, they're only $50. They're very cheap.
Yeah,
Okay.
I talked with them too. They said that their still production is not scheduled to end for like 5 years or something like that. So,
Yeah. Yes, John.
I think we should consider freezing our tire rules for the next 2 to 3 years to get everybody a chance to.
Yeah, that's my plan. Yeah. Yeah.
But think
I
we
don't
should-
plan on
we should
making any
publicize
changes.
it to everybody now,
Mhm.
that this is it, no more discussion on tires, what we got.
Oh my God.
Leave it alone.
Really? The dice went to heaven.
and the ice is surviving nicely too. It's not wrecking it. Like everyone can race. There's no like people complaining that the conditions are
So
not
do you need a
working.
motion from the floor?
No, we'll just we'll make that known in our ice race review, season review.
And the review is, we need the car count to increase or the fees are gonna increase.
They have to, yeah. We've been very lucky running the 2 classes of Chevettes because that brings us
Little
extra
bonus
income.
there,
It's a
yeah.
bonus for us, and they seem to like it too. But I just don't know if that's sustainable. We need we need more rubber cars and we need more limited stud cars.
And the reason a bunch of the studded cars haven't come is because there's been tire rule changes every year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're just waiting for them to stabilize.
yeah. Well, this is the second year we've had that rule, and everybody's happy with it. They're getting used to building tires. We have the tire shaving machine now. That's
In that regard, we talked
It's a
about
bonus.
finding where all these Chevettes have gone. Where have all the old studded cars gone, John?
77 is sitting out at Seva Beach, and we can't find the owner.
Okay.
Who, Lucky?
Lucky.
Oh, lucky.
Yeah, he was here last year.
Yeah.
and disappeared
He was, I
again.
talked to him, he was retiring to New Brunswick, I think he told me.
Quebec. They got
Quebec,
property in Quebec.
Yeah.
And that's where Bob's car is. He made a streetcar out of it. He restored it to a streetcar.
Oh,
And the Firefly of Don Rudko's is sitting out east of town. If anybody wants a turbo 3-cylinder Firefly.
It's
Probably
fast.
have that real
He was
cheap.
nothing.
What?
He's everything he sees those that looking at that.
what happened
Just
to
a
all
mess.
of the
Is it?
RX-7s?
Mine got converted back to a streetcar by the guys who bought it.
I think Conroy has one again, 'cause it showed up on
That
Facebook.
thing's really rusty.
Oh, is it?
That's why I
All
like
the
that.
Zeds have gone to someplace else or something.
Zed Heaven?
Yeah, they returned to the earth from whence they came.
Well, yeah, a bunch of
What
them
about
sat in a streetcar.
Daryl Jones' car, did it get,
It's probably, oh, Daryl still has it, I'm sure.
Yeah,
He
and
moved
Bill's
to-
got destroyed.
yeah, that was destroyed
Daryl.
in Solo.
Here,
Is he?
eh? Jones?
Yeah, he came to one of the ice races.
Oh.
With two sleds on the back there that are from there to
Yeah,
there.
oh, yeah.
Huge sleds.
And he's retired to the coast.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, he doesn't live here
I
anymore.
hit the Bill's retired now as well.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Bill retired the day before the Kelowna Hill Climb, I think.
That's good planning.
His last one.
Okay. What's next on the agenda?
Are you doing an awards for race?
I think it's on the agenda.
Yeah.
That's the next thing.
Okay, ice race rules update for 2019. This is Ryan's.
So Gary Lohughes came to us and with a bunch of recommendations for next year about things that he like clarified and changed and such. One of the recommendations was for the LED lamps to be allowed in all the classes. The only thing I'd like to kind of change for that would be to make it so that they have to fit in roughly the stock location and be roughly the stock brightness for the headlights, and then for taillights, whatever you can make work. Also had some concerns about the seats. For Chevettes, I think that using something or any seat that looks safe and even stock seats are okay, but for rubbered ice and studded, we should be having proper racing seats, especially if we're using the Hans devices that we were recommending. Also brought up some concerns about ballast and us having a ballast weight limit, but having no way of enforcing this limit. And the issue with the Chevette cages, he had asked that we look into how to change it, make it stronger, and the counter argument for that would be that we don't change the old Chevette cages, but have some way of make it so that they're less competitive, so people will naturally want to upgrade to the newer cages as opposed to modifying their old cages.
Most of the Chevette cages have been tested and dressed.
Yeah.
Have we ever had a problem with the Chevette cage?
No.
This argument is 20 years old, more than 20 years old.
And it should have been dealt with 15 years ago.
It was, and it was found that it was okay.
Yeah, there's still some work to be done there to smooth that over. I think everybody understands it. It's okay as long as it's not substandard work. There's a good design. So
Like we talked up there, I think we don't need to alienate our Chevette class, or they're gone.
And you don't have any
And
answers.
they'll be doing outlaw racing on
Yeah.
a pond,
On
and
a
they're,
pond or a field.
we'll lose them.
Jay's track.
Yep.
And we'll be done.
Yeah. Yeah, because without the Chevettes, we're done.
But yeah, there will be some work done on looking at some of these ideas and getting the rules discussed earlier next year and making sure everybody's up to speed with it. But the ballast it was one of my big concerns this year, and at least the guys in the Chevettes did start dealing with it and making it and making some effort to secure it better. The limit is a bit open for discussion, and we have to figure out a solution to that.
Was that it?
My recommendation would be that we finalize what our position on it is and take that to the WCMA AGM next year in October, so that way it can be in any rules changes in place with enough notice for
Yeah, no,
the winter season.
it would be a good way to go, yeah. Yeah.
Well, is that a WCMA reg or is that an NASCC?
There was some work to try and amalgamate and get the Winnipeg and our rules somewhat in alignment, and we were kind of using the WCMA to bring them to alignment. There are still differences, and but we still will try and get some alignment between the clubs and the regions. Not everything will be written into WCMA regulations. So it's if there's a standard between clubs, yes, it'll be written into the WCMA. Why not put it into the WCMA? But like Chevettes, Winnipeg doesn't run Chevettes. We have our own Chevette rules, so they're our own rules. So there's nothing in there about that.
Is there a common standard amongst the Chevettes on what they're doing for weight?
No.
Replacing and sizes?
Nope. Zero. Nothing. No commonality, nothing.
So I remember seeing a guy that had what looked like a wheel off a rail car in his truck.
There's all kinds.
And Joe Branco with the wheel,
The concrete.
spare tire well filled with concrete.
Yeah.
Or Al, who had a bunch of wheel weights pushed underneath a wheel bolted to his spare tire well, so that they were already starting to jiggle out of the spare tire well, or leaf springs, like just crazy.
Well, there were sandbags with bungees holding them in when they first started doing
Yep.
that. At least they've gone past that, I think.
Yeah, I think we've made some tweaks to the rules, and I think we've made it clear that they need to address it. And I think they understand that we'll be moving more aggressively on that next year. So,
Is there a potential for us to specify location and dimensions for new cars? Where we specify 12 by 14, 3 pieces, folded here and here, that equates to a maximum of 350 pounds. And
The issue I think would be grandfathering all other vehicles. So
Yeah.
like I know you're saying like we have it like a complete standard for all new vehicles, but like a good example is Chevettes. So a guy comes back who hasn't been here for 10 years and wants to go racing. Does he fall under the old ones, the new ones?
And the more rules you make, then you have to have a series tech and a series steward
yeah.
to dedicate themselves to enforcing this stuff.
You know,
And we're talking 60 horsepower cars that have been racing for 25 years, the same cars, I mean.
And half of them didn't have logbooks this year. So, yeah. So like there's no records of which ones have been racing for 15 years, which ones have been racing for 30 years, which ones showed up from last year because they got dragged out of the field. Like it's just... We have no idea how old any of them are.
back and
Yeah.
Welcome back and let them race. I mean, as long as it's not egregiously dangerous, let them race.
You know, as long as they put in a decent effort to
Yes.
comply to the rules and or listen attentively to suggestions, and we're perfectly okay with that. It's it's the ones that I did that 15 years ago when it should be fine. No, you have to listen. And
Did we not pass a resolution 2 meetings ago that the ballast needs to be taxed in a safe manner?
Yes.
Or you,
Yep.
yes.
and everybody understands that
Yes.
now. And they were all they read that email, and the only feedback I got back from that whole email was the weight limit.
Yeah.
That was it. So everybody agreed to it, and.
I mean,
And the next tech went really good, and everybody understood what was safe and what was not. So,
Good, good.
yeah, it was
That's good
really,
to hear.
really encouraging.
Next.
Okay, I'm gonna do it out of order. Ice race banquets. Do we want one and when?
I think we should have one.
Okay, Kevin says yes.
You want a banquet or you just wanna get together in a pub and drink a few beers? You wanna do the full-on banquet with awards and,
Or do you want to do a beer and snacks night?
I've had good feedback about having the less formal stuff for things, but I don't know
cheaper too.
with this
Way
particular setup, like if people want that structure though, or they just want to like come. It's beers and food, and then we do the awards thing.
I think it's time to try the less formal route. I do. I think it's a lot less headache and a lot less work.
Yeah.
Do it upstairs with blackjack?
I was going to suggest that works out pretty well. I know ASA's done that for a few years for their year-end awards, and
Yeah.
People can order off the menu. They'll put aside a bartender for you out there, and you can have the space for free. And it's a good size. You can do a little award ceremony, whatever you want. There's big TV screens you put on the slideshow with pictures from the season, and it's very easy to organize. Just work out a date with them.
You got enough pictures for a few hours, haven't you?
Well, I got a couple of pictures for these.
Yeah.
They're good. Yeah, the upstairs room with Black Sex. Oh, where we do the registration in NASCC.
Yeah.
Yeah, where we have the after the rally.
Yeah, Blackjack's is excellent.
I would say put it up, see what kind of response you get, and if you get enough people to salute the flag at the flagpole, just go ahead. Somebody's gotta organize it and put it on though.
Okay, what kind of a date are we looking
This
at?
year?
Yeah.
Well, that narrows it down.
Sooner better than later.
Okay, Easter is April the 1st, so after Easter, but before the race school, which is May 5th.
I'd say
Any week in April?
April 14th, I'd say, is the best day.
Gives a decent
14th
amount
or
of
the 21st, depending on
time to get
blackjacks.
people.
Okay, I have to work the 21st, so that's why I picked
Got
the
a hockey
14th.
game on the 21st?
Yeah, I gotta work the 21st.
Okay,
14th works better for me.
okay.
That's a day.
Okay, I'll check with blackjacks.
April 4th. Let's go for April 14th. If not, we can try the 21st. We need to get the trophies done pretty quick. Kevin did them last year for me, so hopefully you can do that this year.
Just give me the stuff that they're all. I'll just mail them the same thread from 3 years ago too.
Because I'm going on vacation like tomorrow so I can't do any of the organizing.
When are you away?
Back? Well, I leave tomorrow and back on the 19th.
8th to the 19th.
So I just need Kevin to get the awards going, the trophies.
Okay.
If I get the list, I'll drop it off and pick them up and discuss with them if they have any issues. But they know we're doing the same for a while, so.
Yeah.
Can I just throw something out? Is there anything scheduled for Roy's this weekend?
No.
I asked Mike, and don't think I didn't get a response from him.
He actually texted me earlier in the week asking if there was any interest in.
Not from our club, no. Him and I have had some discussion back and forth. I know you want to go, Colin, and there's a couple other people want to go, but I think overall there's just not enough interest to do anything.
I saw the big hole in the ice.
Yeah. He tried talking me into doing something together with them, and it just.
There's quite a few people going away too. Like you're going away, Colin's going away, Peter's gone to Texas. Is Ken going away? We don't know. Sean,
Yeah.
are you going away at all?
I'm gone now. I'm not even here.
He's in the cloud.
Anybody else going away?
So I don't think we're not going to plan on doing anything out at Roy's, and I don't think ERC is either. So
Well, Mike was kind of waiting to hear from us as to how much interest there was here.
none from us.
No.
How did
None.
BMW do?
Well, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
if
It
it's
happens.
appropriate to give it.
Yeah, sure.
We had an amazingly good school, even if we had only had 11 student entrants. Some of the instructors from my BMW group, who all instruct with everything anyway, but that was a good basic school. No expensive air dams were sacrificed, no rollovers. Didn't make a whole lot of money, mind you. I'd like to get you, the club some money. You proposed a number which I thought was too small, and I'd like to give you more, but not as much as I'd like. So I'd like to pay you guys $500 for use of the
Absolutely, that's
homes and stuff.
perfect. Yeah.
But
Whatever you
we're
could,
close to break even with a
whatever you
contribution
could
from
afford
myself, so.
would be nice. Yes.
So, but it was a really good school. The instructors I had were people of long-standing competence, Jeff Smith and John Kershaw, a couple of others. The Porsche clubs and the 2 BMW clubs from Alberta were very appreciative of being able to use the NASCC's track. And everything flowed nicely. There was even terrain on the track, which people didn't expect. And boy, does a Porsche Macan handle ice and snow well. My lord.
So does a 930 turbo.
Where did you find that?
It was a,
Wow.
Really?
oh yeah, we had fun, we had a lot of fun. Around and around. It wasn't around and around the track.
So this is the first, I last did a winter school about 5 years ago, and it came together in a big thrash. So it started just after Christmas to try and get things organized through Motorsport Reg, and it didn't work. Various issues getting signed up. And of course we didn't have any snow to build a track until like the 25th of January. So it all came together in a big thrash, but it was a success, even though we only had 11 entrants, but 11 entrants for 3 weeks worth of thrashing to put it on isn't actually too bad.
It's good, yeah. It
So
gets the interest back.
I'd be interested in doing it again next year if weather and everything else as usual cooperates. But
It's
we'll
just
get
one
you
day,
there.
right?
It's just one day. Yeah, 2 days is a bit too much, and it's also cold. Weather was great, so thanks for facilitating BMW's use of the place. So we'll get you your stipend soon.
We'll see.
And I've still got all the cones that I originally donated to the club. I used again. They're all in my truck right now. I hope that the club trailer is at Sean's with a key somewhere so that I can put the cones back in the trailer.
How many scoring is there?
Yeah, the trucks are, the
trailers
vans are
are
too.
Trailers are two?
But
Okay.
is there a key to
The
the back
key should be
gate?
back in the, or
In the
Battery
the
box.
tailgate in the
Should
battery
be.
box.
We haven't got there.
Truck's not there.
No, the truck's in my driveway now.
Okay.
but he only has the keys for the truck.
But is the
Who's
key
got the
to
trailer
the
keys?
club trailer in the
Yeah.
battery box?
Typically it is. Has been.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
back there now?
I don't know.
Because you told me you had them.
I have the truck keys, the trailer keys should be wherever the entries put them.
Oh.
That'll be the battery box.
Yeah, it should be the battery
But
box.
Dave looked
They
there.
want
No,
$160 worth of
Oh, you
gas.
had them at that
I
point.
marked them and gave
Okay.
half
Get
of
the
them.
universal key.
It's only 30 bucks to that, you just give it back in somewhere.
Suggest
You
having
want-
just announced
Oh,
on
enough
YouTube
15
Live where the keys are, you
Oh.
find the new place.
Yes.
Jesus. Okay.
So I'd like to take the cones back to the club trailer on Friday afternoon if there are keys
Can
in
maybe
the
let
battery
post
box.
edit to take that out so that.
I can take it out of the posting in the end.
Yeah,
Not
you-
on
Yeah,
the
leave
live
it, leave
stream.
it, over some of those words.
You're not on a 20-second delay, are you?
Too bad.
You should be.
I don't know. If someone really wants to get in there, they'll just use the good old universal key.
Yeah.
It's not that long.
Yeah. But
Besides, nothing of value in there anyway for anybody else.
If suddenly another race thing suddenly starts up using all the equipment that looks used, then we'll know
why.
Okay, next item. Werner works in a lot of office buildings, and the one he was recently working in was for Williams Engineering, who had some spare equipment sitting around, so they've kindly donated to us 2 office chairs and a cooler, which have been given to the timing trailer.
Ooh,
So,
lovely.
yeah.
You can roll back and forth in
Thank you
it
to Werner for
now.
arranging that, and thank you to Williams Engineering
Pardon me?
for.
You can roll in the trailer now.
Yeah, they're actually pretty decent shape.
Sweet.
They're really, really good.
And a cooler.
And cooler, yeah.
Good. That's to stop drinks from freezing.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and the last item on the agenda is the race school reminder. Mark, you want to talk about that one?
I can talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't know
Kevin?
on there. Saying there'll be some advertising coming soon for the race school. I've just been talking to people, just gauging the best time to run the ads until really, because there's so much snow. I was talking to people who are like, I don't care about it until the snow melts. I haven't got my car out or thought about it. I'm like, okay. They're just not even deciding on what they're doing yet. But the key thing is to make sure that within 6 weeks of the thing that we are already in full blown advertising mode, because that's
plus
what
12 on Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll go quickly from now, yeah.
yeah. As soon as the snow like
As soon as the
pretty
snow
much
starts to melt away,
like
then-
goes away, then I've been engineering like little things with all the groups. I'm in probably 40 groups in Edmonton stuff for all like the different car club things. So trying to push that, try to get people into it and give them enough time to prep their cars.
Do you know when 780 Tuners opening weekend is this year?
I have to check. I'm not sure. I would like to be there with like our
Yeah.
little
Yeah,
like display and
we
stuff
should
too.
do that.
And I think they are open to having other like groups there, but I don't know if you have to pay
Maybe.
them.
I-
Because I
Even
don't.
if we do,
Yeah, it depends on what they're gonna offer
Yeah.
if we pay, right? So they have to get some value from it. Instead of just giving money so we can go there. So it's just another thing altogether. But that's definitely working. But yeah, just trying to remind people to go out there and
so for those following along on YouTube, the date is,
May 5th and 6th.
and we haven't heard from ARM yet as to whether or not they're running a Marshall School in conjunction.
Yeah, and our first event is pretty soon after that, which is actually
May
the
long weekend.
May long weekend, which is unfortunate. I don't think there's been any change in that yet. It's still,
No, it
everything's
was
still.
on the,
We're stuck with
list
that.
of 10
Yeah,
dates.
no,
On the official.
it's on the list.
schedule.
You know, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but we need to start advertising it soon and see
There's
if we
quite
can.
a few people going to Knox Mountain, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, we have to decide if we're going to cancel or not. So we can always cancel it. It's an option. So
How do we get punished for canceling it? Do they at least get our money refunded, or
you just don't pay it.
Already paid 50%.
You've already paid 50%.
Yeah.
I have to read that. I don't have the contract with me. I have to read
Yeah,
it.
there's a cancellation thing in there.
But yeah, we need to start. Regardless, if we're going to go ahead with it, we need to start advertising it and trying to gauge our interest in who's coming and staying.
I'll find out when the drop dead is, with the drop go or no go date is as per
Yeah.
contract.
But we were hoping for some magical cancellation from somebody else, and we'd just be able to switch weekends. But I don't know if that's going to happen. So
Well, the big factor was the fact that each club that was in on that had to take one.
no, I
long
understand.
weekend.
But did
And
somebody
so-
cancel? That was the only other
So
thing.
unfortunately,
So-
that ours is in line or
Conflicts
falls on
with
the
a
same.
long-standing event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
competes with another major motorsport event in Western Canada.
But so
It's not optimal at all. I think that was expressed, was it not, to the Castro that didn't seem to care?
Well, we were arguing more for our other weekends than for that one. We kind of took that one by default.
yeah. No, I was just wondering if it's worth going back to them and just asking if anything's changed.
I was over there yesterday, there was nobody there.
Yeah,
I can check with Colin.
wouldn't hurt to see if something's changed.
What alternative would you like?
Well, if somebody canceled, if another weekend opened
Another
up.
long weekend?
No.
No, another
Any
weekend.
weekend.
Any weekend opened up.
There's no, we have no dates in, like, from the end of July till the end of August, so July and August. there's
No,
no-
from the end of June.
End of
till
June,
the end of
sorry, yes. No racing in July, no racing till the 24th of August. So pretty much no racing all summer.
With this track.
There's a lot of other competition for those dates in between there, and yeah.
But you'd think you would want to have racing at your racetrack during summer, but
Well, they do. Every single weekend is
they don't
booked.
have any racing.
Yes.
There's people driving around, but they don't have any racing.
Kilotons playing.
The track is being used.
Yeah, it's not racing.
Okay. Sorry.
They have,
I misunderstood
they
you.
have clients, they have rentals,
Yeah.
but, no racing.
Almost every day of the
All
week.
summer. Well, not all summer, just July and August. Which in Canada is all summer.
Yeah, exactly.
It's that 2 weeks at the end of July and beginning of August.
Yeah.
The sun is shining in summer.
But, I mean, the track is fully rented and it's their track and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, on the other hand, Cashwell's making attempts to improve the track, track's getting better all the time, so. It's, I've thought about it from a personal standpoint, not from a standpoint of organizer of the club, but to have July and August off from racing this year, I looked at this kind of a good opportunity to spend time with family and do other things.
Well, it wasn't, yeah, with the Chump Car being in July, I thought, nah, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people interested in Chump Car. If they want to still go racing, they can do the Chump Car in July, right? So.
Is there a date?
Yes.
Yes.
28th, 29th of July.
They've open registration, I believe, as well.
Yeah. So, you know, for me, the schedule is good except for that May long weekend, and
Yeah.
that's the only one in question because there is a race event in July for people who still want to race, so it's okay.
I know I'm going to BC for August 17th, 18th to run one of the races there before our, during our big gap.
Yeah, I don't know what the schedule is in Winnipeg, so it is an opportunity to travel to other venues in July and August, right?
Yeah.
Is that the BC Historics?
Yeah, I
don't-
think that's their
Or is that the
historics weekend.
after yours?
It might be the weekend after.
Yeah.
I picked that weekend because the weekend after is a race event of ours.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
the
did
25th, 26th is our weekend.
There was only 2 weekends you could pick. Yeah, there was only 2 weekends you could pick, and I picked the August one instead.
You're talking the August event the week before ours?
Yeah.
That's the historics.
Sweet. No, I'll run my RX-8. No, I can't.
So close.
Yeah, because we're thinking of going as well. Taking the historics.
To BC?
Yeah.
Mission?
Yep.
And
God, we have
there's
a
an
mission
event
for
there the
ages.
weekend after ours too. I remember looking at that schedule thinking if I
I've been
did
a
that,
mission for ages.
it would be like mission, casual, and mission.
And I was thinking, like, you know, if I could really convince myself that I would get back in a car and drive, you know, all the way there after a race weekend, I'd probably do it. But I decided that either drive all the traveling first, then come to our local one, because I'll have way more inclined to actually do it.
Yeah. Makes more sense.
We should consider changing our event in August. 'Cause that's the Monterey Historics.
Don't think there's much of a
I'm not
clash.
sure, but there's not over cars there.
Not a lot of-
A few attendees maybe, but.
And this is the marquee.
Oh, really?
Barry?
Change the topic slightly. Does anybody have an update on the 2 potential tracks in Alberta?
Supposedly they both are go.
I have a little bit of
Both
info.
of them.
Both are a go, according to them.
According to them.
All right, what's the reality?
Nobody knows.
So I have a little
Not
bit
this
of info,
year.
but is the other topic wrapped up or?
I think so.
Yeah, so Rocky Mountain is selling memberships now. They expect to start moving dirt this spring and have some pavement in. I think the last conversation I had, they may be able to have one event towards the end of the year. They'll probably just have a track and some dirt.
That's the car stairs.
Car stairs, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're likely to have. And it's interesting because the Chump Car folks have an event scheduled at the end of October with the location TBA. And I know they've had talks with the car stairs folks about that, so that might actually be it, but can't quote me on that because I don't know, but the dates all line up. And the other one, Badlands at Rosebud, opened up. They had their membership presentations and so on this week, so you can give them some money if you want as well. And they expect to start paving in June of 19.
Oh.
So that's what their plan is. They had some early bird specials for the sign up for the membership levels. They do have their lowest end membership is significantly less expensive than the low end at Rocky Mountain. So if you're interested, it is a lower cost option.
So it's a bit like Castle. We'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, there's still lots to be done, but that's the the gist of what I know about those right now. Yeah, that's good news.
I just can't.
Yeah.
I just can't see Alberta supporting another 2 tracks.
2 resort tracks. That's the yeah.
The reason, one of the reasons I brought the question up was to ask the executive whether or not at what point should the club be starting to have some discussions with the people who are doing this?
When it's built.
Yeah, we've been informally in the loop with the one group, but we haven't had any formal discussions. I think once they start breaking some ground, then that'll be the time. But until, you know, everything's so up in the air until they break ground, you know, and somebody starts moving dirt, I don't think you can do anything in that regard until that time. So there has been some informal discussions between us and Arca a little bit about what the future may hold too. So, but
Once
nothing.
it becomes more of a reality, even having some more serious negotiations. I mean, I'm of the opinion, and everything I've heard is that like Rocky Mountains is going to go ahead and start moving dirt this summer. If the dirt starts moving, we'll start talking. There's a lot to be talked
I was
about,
just gonna say, what are you gonna
discussed.
talk about?
I mean, dates. Who's going to run? Not only with the track itself, yeah.
How many
Also
events
with
do we
our-
want to run in Alberta? Who's going to run them?
Yeah,
Those are 2 big questions.
yeah.
Was there any discussion, this is way out of left field, of the club being involved monetarily in some form? To kind of grease the skids for us having specific dates or something like that?
We'll be heavily involved with entry fees when the time comes.
Until they get actually pavement equipment out there putting pavement on the ground, I think all those discussions are premature.
I mean, we're a significant renter at Castroville. I mean, our track dates are $75,000 a year at Castroville, so we do have a significant amount of financial commitment to Castroville at the moment. So, I think I'm reluctant to start negotiations until we actually got something to negotiate.
Do we know who, or do we have contacts with both organizations? Do we have good contacts? Or
We have a good one with Rocky.
Dana.
Badlands, no.
I'm working.
We've been invited, a few of us, to their discussion group. I have not posted in there. I've been watching people post. It's weird because there seems to be no direction towards clubs at all. But I may be wrong, or maybe I just don't know the people involved.
You're talking about Badlands?
Yeah. So I still don't have good feelings about that one, but that's my personal opinion.
I thought Badlands was being structured more as a private individual track rather than a club.
That's but everything they say they don't. They say the other. So who knows? You won't know until it's built.
Well, it's the fundamental nature of both of them, really, is there?
Yeah, and who knows?
Membership resort tracks.
Yeah, when the first one's built, the second one may never happen.
You never know. Yeah.
There's a limited pool of money for this kind of stuff.
Well, given the limited season and the amount of resources available, right, and we're having a hard time filling although Castroville's not having any trouble filling the track time, so.
Nope.
The language that Badlands uses, they seem to go to some deliberate trouble to publicize that they will be available to lots of different types of organizations, and they will do that. I haven't seen as much from Rocky Mountain, but I think that's the same sentiment. Certainly much more open than Area 27 has been, which is kind of, give us a few years and maybe we'll think about it. Is kind of what they've said, but if ever, in terms of supporting amateur racing. But I think it feels like it's mostly just a case they need those private memberships to capitalize the project initially, and once it's up and proven feasible, then they can talk about the other things. That's my feeling.
It's interesting times.
Yeah,
Love to see it going on. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no,
Yes.
it's hopefully we'll get one track out of it at least. So it's interesting.
Anything else?
I have some money for the club.
Yay!
It's part of that. Hopefully,
Thank
see
you.
what happens with that matching grant business, but
Super.
may or may not get it. We'll see.
As a matter of interest, that big blizzard for last weekend was this deep on the middle of the lake.
Yeah. It's like nothing.
Nothing. Where did it
It's
go?
such a strange year, and out at Roy's, very little snow
Oh.
all year.
And I did hear back from Mike. He says he has no plans for Roy's. So I would say we're done, and
They can remove the potties.
remove the potty. Well, I'll talk to him about that. He just says they have no plans right now. So, and I think after it warms up, they're done. So,
Oh yeah, it'll be soupy out there.
yeah.
Is it okay if I read this
It
thing?
makes
So he better get the porta potties off
Okay.
next week.
Big rat will
So,
spot though.
Make the Edmonton
Is there?
On
Dirt
the
and Mudding Club
broadcast or not?
open racing.
Well, I don't know. It's a. I
Should
think
we
it- I think-
broadcast
I think
this
it's
or not?
fine. It's a donation from David Wells to the Northern Alberta Sports Car Club for about $5,000.
Wow.
This is part of that long-standing, long-running reduction of the Indy receivable, which the way I structured it, I've donated it, so you, on your financial statements, you reduce that figure by that amount. And this just might help with this matching grant application, which we may or may not get. So that's to support that grant application, and we've done all we can to get it. We'll see what they come back with in a little while.
And we submitted all the
Paperwork
for
they
the
needed.
grant.
So
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
there's still more in the pot, but I just want to keep parceling it out
Yep, yep.
in support of these grant applications.
Keep parceling, we'll keep accepting.
Because we just might get one of them, we just might get it. It's worthwhile doing it this way.
Is that the replacement truck fund?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the replacement truck fund. So,
That'd be great.
just don't deposit it until the 14th.
No problem.
Don't spend it all in one spot.
Dyno is up and running, Speed Tech.
Oh, it is, it's moved and it's there now, is it?
Yep, and they've got it all fully functional.
I was there today.
Yep, looks good. They gave it a paint job, the whole 9 yards.
I set up the videos and stuff like that. TVs.
So I have asked them for a rate sheet for
Yeah.
the club members, and they are supposed to have it to us shortly.
Oh, good.
So
I thought we
because
negotiated that.
I thought that was part of the agreement somewhere.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's negotiated, but
But they
it's a
don't have it published.
percentage of their rate, so they have to set their normal rates, and we get a discount on their normal rate.
No,
Yeah,
there was the initial one.
So that was $75 an hour.
yeah, there's a number of
I
different.
have to reread the contract. I mean, I was involved in the original draft of the
Yeah.
contract, but I wasn't involved in the final draft.
Yeah, it
I
hasn't
thought it
changed
was-
that much, but there are some percentages, figures on it. So I've asked them to give us a rate sheet that we can broadcast and put up so that we know.
And the discount was basically just for dyno pools. No, they're not on their, not a discounted shop rate for tuning.
Yes,
No.
yes, there is.
Yeah.
There is a discounted rate for shop tuning and that kind of
Oh,
stuff.
real? Club members?
Yep. So that's what I'm waiting for them, that
Okay.
we'll then give to the people to broadcast.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so meanwhile, if we're looking for a dyno, we should support them.
Of course.
The 914 should be running again, so. A long story,
Long.
many years.
That is?
Is Jack back still in town, or is
He
he
just
gone?
left, he left today, back in another month.
He won a bunch of races in New
He
Zealand.
won all 16 races in New Zealand,
Wow.
in the TBR, and finished none in the Fiero. In fact, I don't think he ever started any in the Fiero, never made it that far.
Not bad for somebody who's 79.
Yeah, and broke a bunch of ribs earlier this year?
Last year.
That was
Last year? Okay.
Yeah, back surgery this year.
Ooh.
Well, that's good. So you can still be like that. That's all that
Well, his
matters.
back's permanently at 20 degrees.
Yeah. He still gets in and out of the race car, which amazes me.
Okay,
Anything else?
ding. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank
So
you,
when do
everybody.
you hope to have the speed test up?